Okay, picking up from where I was. These cells have been severely overdriven, ran beyond any recommended specifications for what we would like you guys to run the cells at to keep them whole. I do destructive level testing in the sense that I run them way too hot, way too hard, way overdriven, just to see what's going to happen so that we can formulate the parameters on which the cells should be operated or ran at. So what you see in these isn't what you should be seeing in yours if you're running this type of cell. Now let's see if this trend continues. I'm going to set this plate back. You see, yep, back in the orientation that it was. So it's ugly side down, which is the negative to the positive. This being the positive. Here's the negative. And pop the gaskets off. All right. Again, pretty discolored. It tends to be lighter at the base, a little lighter at the top. There. And within this area here, it's a little heavier. I'll give you a stand back view of it. Reason for that? Well, not sure exactly. That's why we take them apart and that's why we look at them. Could be that a good portion of the amperage is traveling through the center and that's where the plating is going to happen. But again, you can see the edge of the hole and it is fairly clean. You can see the intercept line right there. That's the difference between the plated and the non-plated. Now that could be the point at which the two fields, the positive and the negative field, are interacting and therefore causing a bubble. If you're thinking in terms of, I wish I had a piece of paper. If you're thinking in terms of north and south magnets, let's say the pin is the magnet, you would get a bubble, and get the camera up there, you would get a bubble of a field going in both directions. Well, that seems to line up. If the center intersection was at the very center line of the plate, there would be a bubble field around it. Let's pop another one off just so we can see if this trend stays uniform. I mean, you really want to watch the patterns that are created and the deposits. That's going to give you a concept of the flow of electricity. Where the deposits occur is where you get greater flows of electricity. So if you get a thick deposit, that pretty much has to be an area of high electrical activity. It's where the ions are going to be deposited just due to the fact that that's the way it works. Chemicals react to electricity just similar to magnets react to each other. It's called electrodeposition. Trying to get this off. All right. So again, similar setup. You have the line. Plate color is fairly uniform. Again, on the ugly side, you got that deposit in the center. You got a clean hole. The other one, very similar. You got a fairly clean hole, and you have this reaction area right in the center. The edges tend to be clean. So it usually helps if you see it from a reactive area or reflective area. If you look straight at it, it kind of blends. But you can see some very extreme streaking from the edges where the chemicals are being plated and being carried up rather quickly. seems that we have a patch kind of in a half moon or toenail type shape on the edges. But for the most part, you can see both the liquid flow and the electricity flow going from the hole, going out in a shape like this, just like that, and then being returned to another hole like that. So that's kind of determining our reactive area. And yes, you can obviously see that we get some reaction in the corners, but most of the liquid flows in that same pattern going into a diamond. But we obviously have nice reaction going on, just not so much flow. So I assume that the rest of the cell is going to look the same. I don't want to bore you guys too much going through every single plate. The positive side is very nice. There is an interesting little artifact right in here where there was a dent in the plate where I accidentally dropped it. You're probably not going to be able to see it, but I can see some interesting pattern to it. Very, very small. You can see fracture marks. It looks like fracture marks, but it's just the plating action. So having a very smooth surface seems to be pretty important. I know everybody tends to want to rough up the edges to get the production up. I'm not sure if I don't go that way. A dead smooth plate surface seems to be more efficient. You want more production, add some electrolyte to it. But you really can't push the plates or push the cells beyond a certain level of production. You do, and they just get inefficient. You crank the voltage up too much, you get inefficient. You crank the E-light up too much, and it gets inefficient. Heat is generated. So there's that. Now I ran these cells, tested them very thoroughly, and I ran that cell, which has no holes at the base, as you can see. And the efficiency difference between the two is nil, negligible. There really isn't any. So for all intents and purposes, my position of whether or not having a gasketing system to get the fluid and gas in and out of a cell, an elaborate gasketing system, really doesn't make much sense. It's not worth the energy, it's not worth the effort. We're not seeing huge efficiency gains. In fact, I didn't see any efficiency gain having no holes or having holes. So for simplicity, cost effectivity, and the rest of it, we're going to be sticking with this design for probably some time until we can further define the what affects efficiencies. So this is all test-based and data-based. So I'll tear this apart, find if I find anything interesting or abnormal, I will show it and post it. Take care.